Well, hopefully, Heather, you'll be able to join on soon in Sunshine. Waiting for Harry Thomas coaching. There he is. You're looking all tanned.
Yeah, it's disappearing quickly.
Yeah, for the record, someone's just been to somewhere hot, someone hasn't. That'd be me. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, really well. How are you?
Great call this evening. Wow, what a powerful call. So yeah, buzzing from the call, to be honest, pal. Buzzing. Even more so to be here now.
Yeah, this is what it's all going to be about. So everyone join in. This is Lads Talk Health. It's a new concept that me and James have created. Pretty much talking all fit, get hidden away from talking and allowing people to come onto a platform and discuss anything that's going on in their lives and anything that needs to be brought up to the surface. And we've got many stories to share. We'll explain who we are in our journeys, but we're both life coaches and we both work with a number of people. And the one thing that we have in common is that we love helping people and love serving.
Yeah, bang on. Sorry, Matt, I was so engrossed in what you were saying there. Keep talking. No, but it's true. There's going to be some gritty subjects covered, and they're going to be covered from personal perspectives and experiences as well, and things that definitely need to be spoken about. What's great, since the idea of this whole Lads Talk Health, to be honest, came off the back of talking with Harry for hours, reconnecting after many years, properly reconnecting after many years, and then just talking for many hours and just realizing just how simple things can be once you actually start having proper conversations. That might sound really basic and self-explanatory, but yeah, this was bred off of the idea of just amazing proper conversations with a mate about meaningful stuff, proper stuff, not bollocks, not always football, or it's stuff that will resonate with people. We've got two different complete perspectives on our own experiences of life. I'm a dad, I'm married, got a couple of kids, so I've got those experiences that I share with Harry, who's not in that position yet. And I think the point of me bringing that up is great. And what we're going to share going forward is just our back and forths, and how, for example, the fact that Harry hasn't got kids has had a massive benefit for me in my performance as a dad, which I'm eternally grateful to me mate Hazza for. And it's not all going to be complementary to each other. We're still lads. I'm going to take the piss out of him every now and again, you know what I mean? But but yeah, on a serious note, it's going to be proper stuff that we should be talking about, especially in the time that we're living in at the moment. A conversation I had with someone earlier, someone was just saying how they feel so disconnected with human touch, and again, that really resonated. This current period we're living in right now is not normal, and I don't want people to start thinking it's normal even. It's just important that there's a lot of positive conversations happening, because you don't hear that many companies. Well, I don't. I'd make sure I make them as much as possible, but unfortunately, if you're just, I'm listening now to what's going on around me, and I'll be interested in your take on this as well, especially where you're based in such a busier area than me. But it's a bit of a morbid time if you choose to look at it that way. But if you want to change the way things look, you change the way you look at them. And there's a lot of massively positive and beneficial things for all of us going on currently, if we choose to look in that direction.
Yeah, I follow on from that. We reconnected this year when COVID did hit, at a time where there was uncertainty and stress and fear. And if we both look back on the years that we've had, we'd put it up there as one of the most successful years. And like, there's smiles that come with that, but that can be anyone as well. And I think what we start realizing is that the connection part is massively important, but it's the listening part that I feel like that we unlock people just by giving them the space to, first of all, just talk, but then talk in a place where they're not getting judged. They know that the person on the other end, which we have in our conversations, is there just to listen, to challenge in a way of like being curious and asking deeper questions. but also there just to enjoy the conversation. And one of the things that I said the other day was, imagine a newspaper and you opened it up and it was just full of conversations. What happened in their conversation today with him and him? What about that conversation? Imagine if they reported that. All of a sudden, this agenda and this negativity that's literally in our face every day at the moment could change, because within a conversation there is a laugh, and with a conversation there's an idea, and there's so much more to that. And being coaches, our job is there to listen. The conversations that come from that is incredible, and I think we're able now to start showing what we're doing on a day-to-day basis and enjoying it the whole time as well.
And sorry to start smiling there, Has, at the end, but I need to address something that still shows you about just being aware of ego. So if you'd have, a year and a half ago, even a year ago, if you'd have said to me about not only becoming a life coach, but importantly, being life coached, I was and am still Harry's coachee. So, and the reason I think that's important is there's probably a lot of people like me, a lot more blokes, I might be wrong, but just within my circles, where I grew up in London and the sort of background, I'm from a very working class background, and blokes are blokes. I would have told you to piss off if you'd have told me. Number one, if you'd have thought I'd be paying my mate Hazard to be my life coach, I told him to piss off. But also the stereotypical thought of thinking, what? Life coaching? I've got my shit to get. There's a view of life coaching which I've experienced as being one of these people with this outlook of thinking, who do you think to call yourself a life coach? And this is what's wonderful about life coaching, and this is what differentiates it from therapy of any sort, is it's two people meet on a complete equilibrium. Two people that have got, you know, my past involves prison, drugs, being involved in dealing, sexual abuse as a child. There's been real gritty things to say that actually, you know, I'm not in a position to start preaching to anybody about anything, okay? But it's not that. It's the complete opposite of that. It's what Harry's just said, which is why I've segued into this, Harry, is the fact that you turn up to listen to someone intently and you let them talk, you let them hear their own voice. And again, that might sound crazy, but the amount of people, and I experienced this firsthand when I started talking to Hazard about proper stuff, real stuff, about being a dad, about being a husband, about falling short, which was all awkward at first, very difficult to speak to Hazard about. Hazard, I think you'll pay testament to the fact that, you know, the conversation didn't start off with me just going, blah, blah, blah. There was, I had my guard up as with most people would, and then I just realised by just having a chat with my mate, that just who happens to be a life coach, who ended up being and is my life coach, is just how allowing someone to talk and genuinely listening to what they're saying as they're saying it, so much so that you share that energy space with them. And when you come back with something, it's often just noticing what that person has said and pushing it back to make sure they've heard what they've said. And the insights you get is unbelievable. So yeah, I just think that's important to understand. Life coaching, I ain't perfect. I've done, and you know, I let my kids down, I let my wife down. You know, I'm a normal person, but it's all right to be. Well, normal is a crap word, really. I'm just your standard human being. That definitely does, though, take pride in wanting to help, wanting to serve, wanting to be loving, wanting to be kind. And it's all right to be these ways. That's the thing. And I think, again, Lads Talk Health is going to be all about that, is encouraging, not just lads, everyone and anyone. You know, physical contact is good. Sharing compliments is the way forward. Being kind. How about this? Sorry, I'm hogging. I'm going to slide this straight back to you. I'm going to leave this one now. This is scientifically proven, okay? When one person, when you show a selfless act of kindness to another person, it's been scientifically proven that the person, the recipient of your act of kindness, has a massive uptake and production in their serotonin, which, if you don't know what that is, look into, because that along with endorphins and dopamine is our natural, most powerful pick-me-ups. People can call them high, call it whatever you want. And healing, important healing agents as well. And not only does the recipient get that instant boost and uptake, but so do you, the kind giver. Okay, so if that ain't enough just to do something nice, if you don't, as if you shouldn't be doing nice things anyway, if that ain't enough to boost you, just to encourage you to make sure you're telling your missus, I love you, babe, I really appreciate what you're doing, vice versa. And your kids, be present with your kids, listen to what your kids say. A lot of the time I was finishing sentences and all sorts. So my point is these little acts of kindness that we can give that make us feel better. Tell me, I don't know, one person who gives an act of kindness and then feels bad for doing it. It's the opposite. So yeah, go on, Hazza. Sorry, mate. Hogging.
Never apologise. That's the part of this platform. And again, you'll communicate with each other. We let each other speak, and within that, magic starts happening anyway. So I think there's an educational platform, but there's also loads of things that people are going to be able to take away and start implementing. And when we have our conversations, someone will say something, and you see the other person just like, I don't know, I'm going to try that next, or out. And that's the beauty of it. And I think if you can go into life looking to grow all the time, and you get so many people, just be happy the way you are. That's going to be a boring life if you continue that. Like, life keeps changing anyway. So if you keep changing and growing, you'll see that every part of that becomes more exciting. And with what's going on at the moment, if I said to you, I've got something that make you just a tiny bit happier, would you take it? Yes, yes, you would. And if you wouldn't, that's your fault. That's your own suffering again. So with all this stuff, you do feel happier. You live a better life. And my question to you, James, because I coach a lot of people, I've worked with a lot of people being in the fitness industry, and your change in the space of this year has been incredible. And the more we start connecting, we're seeing this more and more now, because I feel like that we live in it. But can you just sum up what's changed for you this year? Like, if you could, or last year just gone, in a bad year that we would label it as COVID, what's changed in your life?
The biggest change in my life, which is it's a change I made in myself, which affected every single role I play in my life, which is dad, husband, son, friend, everything, is holding the space, which is something I've learned through an amazing course, Mindful Talent course, where rather than go with what I now, in my opinion, recognise as a pre-programmed egotistical response to things, which is often a knee-jerk, just something that you just do. At the minute, it might sound like gibberish, but if you start noticing people, I'll make it relevant to people with kids. Sorry, but I'm going to, because this is a big change as a dad. This has been huge for me. So my little boy had a really difficult start to life, especially with his ears. Okay, and we got into this habit. I'm nutshelling this story. He had an awful start to life, bless him. We nearly lost him, in fact, at birth. It was all, he stopped breathing, the whole kit and caboodle. So things were bad. Stop breathing. Make more sense of that. It sounds more. Basically, he had gas in his blood that was threatening him to affect his breathing at that point. So that's doing emergency cesareans. Anyway, he suffered a lot, especially with his ears. And what me and my wife have done, subconsciously and out of love over the years, is we'd finish his sentences. Okay, we'd start as he's younger, and you're conscious of it again, egotistical as a parent, other kids his age are not understanding him, and you're having to explain. You feel anyway. Point being, what that did is instilled this thing inside myself that where as even as he got older, and bless him, he started developing his speech. He was always a little bit behind, but he started developing his speech and catching up. I still was in that habit of finishing his sentences for him. Then I realized, when I was really being honest with myself, I'm finishing it because I'm not even giving this son, my son, who I love unconditionally and I would do anything for, and this is all the stuff I claim, but I'm realizing I'm not even giving him the time to finish his sentences because I might be, I don't know, West Ham on something really, and that sounds awful, and that's what I was doing. And this is just one example, one of the roles, but it's been one of the most powerful things. this year, by learning to hold the space, properly hold the space, just with my son, I've realised what a bad dad I was, which is not across the board in all areas, but in a massively important area, an area where he needed my support, and I thought I was supporting him, and how that developed into me becoming really lazy with something. So yeah, that's just one example. So, and that made me feel initially like shit, but then so empowered by knowing that all I've got to do is shut up, let him talk. If it takes a little bit longer, then I freaking expect, or I want to, like, who am I? Like, let him. And it's been amazing because, as you know, because I do the school run with him every morning, I started recording the conversations we started having, and we started talking about racism. He told me a story about, he didn't know the name, but he told me a story about, Dad, there was this black woman back in the day. I was like, okay, where's this one going? I got it on camera. He's going, she got on a bus, and I was saying, yeah. And then he went, why didn't they call it her story? I'm thinking, what's he going on here? He went, I said, what do you mean, son? He went, well, it's called his story. I'm saying, son, I'm trying to get out of him what he's talking about. And then he described it more. He said, well, she shouldn't have sat where she sat on the bus. And I thought, oh my God, Rosa Parks. He's talking about, this is just something that I've just said to him. I've got this in video as well. I've just said to him, like, you know, son, what do you think about racism, and how he elaborated on it? And then he went, well, shouldn't that be her story rather than his story? And I just thought, wow, simple, silly little thing. But again, it was just for me as a dad, hearing my son have an insight, seeing it, witness it, and then realizing that's all I've done is let him talk, was, yeah, it's been game changing. So I've got a little girl as well, 3-year-old little girl. I'm a better dad to her, and I'm definitely a better husband because I'm listening more. And blokes, there's something in that as well, I tell you. Listen, even if you're not really listening, really listen. So yeah, that's one area has.
And you also become a life coach.
And become a life coach as well, which, yeah, it's been amazing, absolutely amazing. And I just encourage anyone, you don't even have to label it as, just for me, what I've learned this year is the importance of, is listening, obviously, as I said, but also the importance of communicating positivity to everybody, literally. Strangers, something I'm doing my boy at the minute as well, is we're just going out trying to do small acts of kindness, just to encourage it, because it's just, I feel it's quite sad to see what's going on, knowing that all you have to do is sort of open, you take your blinkers off, and actually there's so much to enjoy, even now in this time, if you just choose to, or you can choose to just be caught up in all the negativity and sort of bury your head in the sand, which a lot of people are doing. And yeah, just go back to basics, man. Just being kind, being thankful, telling people you love them, tell even your mates, lads, you know, good friends are hard to come by. Again, it's all the stuff we're told. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, but do you really appreciate that? How much have you told your mate that you appreciate them? Just their existence in your life, what it does for you on a humane level. These things are important.
Yeah, they're all like within this. There's so many little teachings and so many things that if you just apply it once here, it then affects your friendships. It affects your like relationship with your family. The way that I've seen you hold the silence when you're telling your kid off, or you're teaching your kid a valuable lesson, but you held the space and you hold in this space. I always say it's like the ego that you're kind of having a fight against, because at some point someone has to budge.
Mm.
And in that space, if you're not moving, then the guilt comes out from the other end. And then the magic happens. So it all ties in, like holding the space, keeping silence, being present. They're all fundamentals that what we should really go into our everyday life with. And the Lads Talk Health, yeah, we have these conversations, but we are working with a number of different clients from a number of different categories as well. We work with people who have terminal illnesses. We work with people in relationships, working from my sector, the health and fitness industry. So the same concept still flows with all of that, just the way that we just show up and listen. And the sales process. If I'm selling to someone now, I'm not telling them what we do and we get this and you get that, and don't worry, you're going to get a t-shirt. I just ask them what they want, and I say, what else do you want? And what else do you want? What else do you want? And then I just answer all their questions that they want. It's all personalized to them if I took the time to listen. And then you see that you get these random messages on Facebook or LinkedIn, and someone's trying to sell you something. Hi, I've got the perfect product for you, and da-da-da-da-da. They don't know anything about me. They haven't even taken the time to look at my page, but yet they've got the perfect product. I don't want to know them. So the listening part as well, then you connect with the person. It's like, wow, this person's actually showing an interest in my life. And just by you doing that act of kindness, they will open up to you on a different level. And so again, the listening has a lot more power than people understand. And I think once you're aware of it, like you say, James, you now spot how all your friends or your family and stuff, they're not listening. They're literally just sitting there waiting for silence and answer your question or tell you something else. It's like, it's dismissive of exactly what you're saying. And that's where I feel suffering comes in as well, is when you've got someone that wants to express themselves and their loved ones are not even listening to them, that's quite painful deep down. So again, I love it. I like everything about it. It's like a magic thing that we've never been taught properly.
Well, do you know what it is? I agree. The magic, I feel that the magic that you've referred to is the inherent thing that we're all born with. We're all born with innovation, unprogrammed, just love. Everything around is amazing, and all you want to do is, as a baby, I've seen it with my two kids, is as a baby is just be loved and love back and just smile back. The first thing they want to do is smile and smile back at you, and they smile and then you smile like a dopey. Like, that stuff is the magic. That is the magic. And at a time like this, I mean, this is the time for the inherent natural magic, which unfortunately, from my own experience and in my opinion, this is what gets chipped away at us over the years and it starts from parents as well. The nearest and dearest, they've helped build your ego. Trust me, they've helped build my ego. These people that love you more than anything in the world. Why? Because they've inherited from their parents and their parents. If you take 3 minutes out of your day to sit in total silence, close your eyes, sit in total silence, nothing on, okay? And just try and clear your thoughts, yeah? Just try and clear your thoughts. Try and notice what you're thinking in that 3 minutes. Try and say, I'm not going to think about anything. And be honest with yourself. When they do start flashing around and your eyes start fluttering, notice what you're thinking. Because what you're going to find is there's a lot of stuff up here that is pre-programmed. And when you start just noticing in yourself, it's not about preaching to other people, just be real with yourself. If you're going to be real with anyone, be real with yourself. I've had to be massively real with myself. And through the clear out, I feel much better for it. But you will realise, like I said, just how far away we've gone from what we core values. Someone on the course with me, amazing young lady, this is something she brought up in our sessions about core values. That's the thing. Kindness, love, sharing, joy, any of them other words you can't say with a sad face. Yeah, they're your core values. That's where you start in life. That's what's important in life. And that's when everything goes wrong. And this is to touch on something Harry just said. I'm going to elaborate a bit more, Harry, on the work we do with people that aren't too well. Okay, this is something I've been involved with for nearly 5 years now. I've been working with people and I've been privileged to have Harry on board for the last 2 to 3. How long? 2, 3?
3 months.
Something like that. Lost track of time. But the reason I'm bringing that up is that's been the biggest lesson of my life. That although I've then studied to become a life coach, working with people that have got their backs against the wall has been the biggest eye-opener for me as an adult, biggest lesson of my whole life. Because what happens is when you're pretty much told there's nothing more we can do for you, in every single person that we've now worked with, there's this inherent going back to the basics, non-egotistical, none of the program shit. It's the, I want to live, and this is what's important to me. And it's funny, the regrets I hear from people often when they come off and they're having that downtime is, I wish I had said this to that person. I wish I hadn't stopped talking. It's always the fact that they've not expressed their emotions. For whatever reason, they've suppressed their emotions, which is now what I've learned through these amazing people we've been privileged and are still privileged to be working with currently, because we've got some amazing people that we've been privileged to be brought into our existence at the minute as well. Remind me to talk to you after about one of them as well, because I forgot to mention that to you earlier. Is the fact that they want to love. That's what all of a sudden comes out as part of what they inherently feel that they need to do to help heal themselves as well. Is they just want to be loving. They just want to be kind. They just don't want any negative energy around them. It all has to be positive and all has to be. Why? Because all of a sudden, all the other shit that don't mean nothing, you realise it don't mean nothing, because when you do die, none of that goes with you. None of that can go with you. All the grudges, the silly arguments, none of that goes with you. Trust me, from my experience now working with people that are in those positions, one thing I will not do is regret not to say something to somebody. No, I think that is one lesson I've learned as well from people, like I said, that are in a position where it really means something to them, is the fact that they've suppressed their emotions, which is like suppressing life. You know, your emotions, it's a non-physical thing that can have massively detrimental and positive physical effects. You're down and you're depressed, guess what? You get sick.
Yeah.
You're happy and you're loving, you're kind. It's very difficult to be sick if you are truly in that condition. So yeah.
All sickness and illness comes from an imbalance somewhere. It's not just random acts and unfortunately you're going to get sick. No, there's something going on in your world, and the more we're diving into the way the body works, there's some stresses that not being let go. There's some people that keep triggering it. There's the daily routine that you're just not satisfied with, and over time this suffering keeps building up, and inside your body's not like in harmony, and that's where the illnesses come. And what we do really well now is get people to understand, what are these feelings, like who am I, why am I feeling like this, and really just taking the time to notice. And then when they start like identifying some of these things that are not serving them, and we always refer to energy, we always say that when you're ill, your energy is so important. Like people waste their energy on things that don't need wasting on. So every thought, every negative word you use, every fear, that's energy you're giving away. When you've been told that you haven't got long to live and your back's on the wall, you can't be giving your energy away. You need it all for yourself. And I think we make people realise that if you can start turning everything into energy, am I wasting at the moment? Yes. Do I need to? No, not really. Let it go. Because we can zoom out and you see that our life is not just this period of time where we keep working on. Got a long time left. Zoom out, slow down. And when you start protecting your energy and become aware of it, James then said, now I'm confident enough to have no regrets with what I say, because you're in a place now that you are confident with the words you say because it comes from a good place, and you're open to change and you can adapt. But having that confidence to do that, that's your energy that you've managed to build up for it. And that's the difference with like going in feeling and being able to express your feelings and not worry how it affects other people, because that's your feelings. I think that's all these discussions, we'll have a theme to it, and the energy is a big one, because you can argue, people can argue with you all day that you got this and you got that, and if you just show them you're just literally wasting your energy or you're not wasting energy, then everything else is irrelevant. It's bringing it down to just simple ways of looking at stuff. And again, there's no energy trying to work that out. It's just, yeah, I'm wasting it. That's it.
And to add to that, for anyone who, like me, the dildo here a year and a half ago would have said, that's woo-woo, it is now being recognised accepted, and they're trying to run the real scientific method on through experimentation about the existence of consciousness, spirit, gut instinct, sixth sense, call it whatever you want, aura, whatever you want. It's now being recognized. Do a bit of digging. If you think I'm chatting a load of bollocks, do a bit of digging and have a look. And not only is it being recognized, like I said, I think I just said, it's being recognized to play a massive part in our healing and in us getting sick in the first place. So, and if you think that, again, I mean, that's something I've read, that's something I've looked into and contacted people about. You can all do the same thing. Don't take our word for nothing. Just, if you're interested, go and have a look. But even if you think that is a load of bollocks, what no one can deny me is someone that is in front of me that have been told basically that they've got this amount of time to live, okay, because they've got this, in this case, a particular type of illness, okay, and that person who is completely never been normal, never been religious, never been anything else, nothing, has realized the protecting their energy so much so that they've actually pulled themselves away from their immediate family because that has played a role, in their opinion, in what's going on in them. Bear in mind, these people, in many cases, there's no treatment now. They've been told there's no treatment. That's it. We've done our bit. You're another one of the, it's a scary stat, I don't even want to say the stat, of people that we've tried and it's not worked, basically. So you're in that position already. So you now only have you. That's it. And I've seen two types of people over the last 5 years. The people that let the cancer encompass them, and it just becomes, because they've been told that, their brain's gone, because our brain is the epicenter. Again, look into that. Your brain controls everything in regards to what then happens within your body. Okay? You get the people that get told that and they accept it. And they'll say that they're going to fight it, they'll try this and that, but their inner knowing is of defeated because I've accepted it. And then there's this other breed, which I've seen firsthand, that even in a battered state from the medicines that they've had to endure, when I've met them, they've just roared from their inner being, even though their hair's gone and looking beat up. The roar of no, fuck this, I've got this, I know I don't accept this. And I've seen firsthand, like I said, back to the spiritual woo-woo thing, people move away, nearest and dearest. And I'm not saying that this is what you should do. I'm just saying, giving you examples of someone who has been told that they're dying and has been so affected by the negative energy, which has not been intentional from the immediate family, because it's, oh no, oh my God, and what, like, which again, understandable. Really, I'm not knocking any of this. Please listen to what I'm saying. It's understandable. But that person has recognized in them some sort of spiritual awakening where they've had to pull themselves away from it and put themselves in a better position where they're now also healing. I've also known people not to tell their family members what they're doing because they've needed to protect their own energy. So I'm making it relevant to what I've experienced to sort of testify to what you're saying, Hazard. Like, there is really this spiritual energy thing that, I mean, look at the energy level on the planet, on the earth, I should say, at the moment. Do not most people you are experiencing at the moment has just, I mean, my family, I mean, this is live and if someone sees it, it's going to sound awful, but I find it difficult to conversate because everyone is just, it's just down, the energy levels. And then you try and speak up and be positive about certain things, and people will look for that next reason to, oh yeah, but then you've heard about. So energy is real. Energy is definitely real. People that, like I said, I definitely have experienced myself, have taught me that. I've seen it with my own two eyes, I've felt it, and I've seen amazing healing due to it. So yeah, energy is real.
Yeah, the energy gets dismissed because it's not a physical thing. And in science only works with physical. But the crazy thing is that every single scientific equipment is energy. X-rays, that's energy. So they use the machines with energy, but they can't say it's scientifically proven because it's not a physical. But we all know that energy is there. When people argue in a room, you walk into it, there's that tension in the room, and you're like, I'm going to go, I'll let you guys. You feel it, that's energy. And the one I always go to is your plants. You stare at your plant pot and it grows. Like, how the hell does it grow? Like, out of what? There's mud there. That's energy. So you can't deny the energy is there. And you also, when you've got one of them mates who drain your energy, how often, oh, it's so draining. What are they draining? They're not draining your skin. They're draining your energy. So you've also got the positive people you love being around. You always feel good around them. Why? Because they come with good energy. Like, people can dismiss it all the time, but it's there. And if you know it's there, you choose, right, if I give good energy out, I'm going to get it back. And now you know that works. That's your fault if you don't put out good energy. And we're saying, like, you can't expect us to be happy all the time. But even when I catch myself being grumpy, I still now can say, can I change this right now? Or, like, how else could I? Okay, just accept it again. So we constantly in this battle to have better energy when we go through life. And again, this is an intro, but the more we go through this, there's so many teachings on this subject just alone. And then there'd be practical ways that you can start like implementing in your life. And we mentioned about the kids' development. The first 7 years is all subconscious. That's energy. Your energy is fed on, your kids feed off your energy. Like, even love, as parents, if you've got two people in a relationship that are not, they're fighting, they're hating each other, and this kid is seeing that for the first 7 years, they're taking on this energy of love. That's what love is, normal to them. Not what you two are saying behind it, but they feel it all. And that's the beauty of it, is that everyone, when you think about it from these different standpoints, you can agree, actually, there is something there.
100%. And again, about the kids thing, I reckon pretty much every dad and mum, whoever gets to see this, whoever does watch this, who's got a kid, for the first 2 years of your child's life, because that's before they start even saying a few words, your whole communication is based on an energetic approach. It's not a physical thing. Yes, you're teaching your kids something, but how do mothers know when there's something wrong? How do fathers know when there's something wrong? There's just, you have that feeling, and you know, lo and behold, he's joking. But there's times, and I know people will be able to relate if you're being honest with yourself. There's times where you've just known to do something and you've done it, and you thought afterwards, oh fucking hell, I don't know, good job, you don't even know where it come from, but something in heaven. And there's times where that happens and you don't do, this is from personal experience, what your guts told you, and what happens?
Yeah.
5 years of prison. How about that? That's what can happen. So there is times where we've all experienced. All right. Let's even strip it back further than that, Hazza. Every physical, which is a physical thing, obviously, physical thing, action you ever have taken up until this far in your life stems from energy, because it stems from a thought. Thought isn't physical. You can't grab a thought, you can't touch it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, but all them things I just said are all ignited by thoughts. Touch, taste, smell. Everything you do comes from something you thought. Catch a ball last minute, even if it's a split second thought. So again, all of you are energetic, all of you are spiritual. It's a fact. So when you start tapping into those realms, like I know you've heard me give this example, and this is a blokey thing. Like, I'm a die-hard West Ham fan. We don't win much. Never have done for nearly 40 years. So it's been a suffering experience, but I still am die-hard. Now, for them blokes out there, if any one of you tell me you've not experienced, if you're into football, and I'm going to describe a scenario now. You're at the match with your mate or your brother, all right? And normally you're at the ground. There's normally a few people you see in and around you that you used to, what Dave, what Bill, what Tell, see the lads and all the rest of it. Don't really know them. But there's something when you meet up together that brings you together, and then watching your team play, your team are on the attack, Like you can feel something's coming, and you got that. Look at your mate, like, look across, like, what's going to happen here? You nudge forward on your feet, put your hand on your mate's knee, and it's coming, the ball comes in, bang, your player scores. You just get this. And everyone around you that ain't a physical thing. It fucking feels it at the time, trust me. But that euphoric, energetic experience, you're hugging everyone. All you want to do is hug and cuddle and I can love you. Why? Because that at our core is what our energy starts from in the first place. It starts from a place as euphoric innovation. That's what you come into this world experiencing. And then unfortunately, like I said, it gets chipped away and you drift away from your spirituality.
It's being aware of it as well. It's because I wasn't spiritual, religious, anything like that. I just used to be scared that we'd die and that was it. Life was over and it went on without you. I used to have, I remember as a kid crying and stuff like that. And you go into your adult life knowing or thinking that is just the it. And that's quite a scary thought, because then all of a sudden you spend half your life stressing about dying, leaving everyone. And the more people I work with now, when they hit 50, there's a fear of dying even more. And that decline, the aging process, the thing that everyone does, but we all treat ourselves this life that we're going to live forever, there's a fear to living. And again, working with some of the clients when they've already been told that they're not going to live. So now we need to focus on that time that they are, to enjoy it. And all of a sudden, these spiritual insights and these letting goes, all the stuff, like, fuck, it's so simple. And the more that we start discussing this with people, the more that they can start living a good life within this human experience. Because if you speak to most people that get to their deathbed, and there's loads of videos on YouTube, really powerful ones, give some advice to the younger generation. All of them will say something like, forgive, just be happy, don't take things so seriously. They all tell you that, and they've lived out a good time and to give that knowledge, but yet we choose not to take it. And the second point with death as well, which I love talking about it now because of the insights people get and the understanding and the letting go, but also their responsibility as a character that they're playing. So let's take a nan, for example. She's playing the role of a nan. She has a daughter or a son, and then she has a grandson or daughter. So there's two responsibilities there. And then if you then said to her, how do you need to show up as a nan? Does your grandkids need a nan that's fearing life, worrying about death every time? You can just see they're scared. I can sense their energy. Or do they want this person to be like, come in, have the food, like loving life? And then you're like, that's my nan. And that's the thing. It's like that instant, wow, I do have a role to play here. Everyone does die. And if that is that point and we don't know what it's like, and I've got some good stories that I've heard that make it a lot more exciting than what we've been told. But if we know that and we can accept it, let's make the most of the time that we got here. And that stress is giving energy away again. That's coming back to the energy. If I'm stressing about something, I'm wasting it. But if I can accept it, cool. Save this energy for me, build up, and then I can now enjoy life. They always tie back in circles.
They do. And as you were saying that, you'll know who said this, but if I just said this, in fact, I will just say it will sound awful probably, but I wish I'd lived my whole life like I have cancer. And you know who said that, didn't you? And that was so powerful, that hit home, because to hear it from this person and to see the change, I felt a bit knobby by, again, that's silly ego, by saying from working with us, but it's truth. Like, through the time we've been with that person, the change from that person, you know, their thoughts on mindfulness, meditation, spirituality, and how they are now, and what, like I said, I'll tell you after, what they've actually just brought another thing to my door with a whole spiritual thing as well. It's phenomenal. Like, and it's real. I've seen that. And to hear that person say that, though, And the reason they said it was because it had been prior to that statement, it was them rattling off about how they're basically, honestly, I've sorted things out with this person now. I'm talking to this person again. My diet's better. I'm exercising again. I've give up work. I'm concentrating on what I want to do. And it's just like, of course, it's not a rocket science. Listen to what he's saying. Basically, he's basically living his best life. That's what he's doing by just stripping back the shit that don't matter. Work, and don't get me wrong, I know we need to work. I get that. This isn't the point, so I don't get caught up on that. Of course, we have to make money. We have to make ends meet, because unfortunately that's the world we live in. But the point is, someone in that position to take the steps they have to live, all they've done is actually gone back to who they was, as in their words, as how they started out in life. And yeah, I just think that again, it's all energy, it's all spirituality, it's all that woo-woo stuff that you want to call it. But start stripping it back. Like I said, I stand by it. Look into it. Mainstream science now, mainstream medicine as well. Medical science have accepted that that energy that all of us have plays a big part in our healing. And like I said, even before healing, in our getting sick in the first place. So imagine that, people, by just trying to be a bit happier, not all the time, and don't get me wrong, we're not trying to come across as too happy gits, because I have my bad days. My kids drive me mad sometimes, so does my wife. It happens, these things happen, but it's being all right with that and knowing, all right, but I'm dealing with it better, like you said earlier, Harry, by being aware of things, which takes a lot to start looking at yourself, which is where we should all be looking anyway. You then start realizing where your performance is lacking and where actually that's my fault, what's just happened there, and I'm egotistically thinking it's the other person's fault. So again, it's important, but that inner journey, looking inside, also means looking at yourself energetically, spiritually, whatever it is you want to label it as, and seeing where you're at there. Because like I said, we've all experienced it. There's not one person in the world that has, I believe, that has gone through their life and not experienced one time where they've just thought, I don't know why I did that. And it was the right thing to do. Something inherently made you do something you noticed.
Yeah, that same person you was talking about was told by many doctors that certain things that he would have going on for him. And he actually said that, you know what's funny? I've got cancer, but yet I'm the healthiest I've ever been. And that was a statement that was really powerful, just to show how far this person had come. But for him to say that, and it just shows that, again, we work with people with cancer. The word cancer doesn't mean that it's game over. The word cancer doesn't mean you're a cripple. It just as a label that we've been given to it. But one of the things that you're going to get from us as well is how to show up around people that do have cancer, your loved ones, because you realise the things that you say and the stuff that you're doing from a good place is actually really detrimental to their healing journey, because you're not aware of it. And we've learned that firsthand over the years. But people just straight away lose hope when their loved one's got cancer. It's like the worst thing in the world. But yet all they need to do is make some changes in their life. And obviously it's not that simple, but some change needs to happen. And that change makes more happiness, that change brings more energy, that change brings more motivation, belief. Like just the small changes, all of a sudden they're going in this direction. And it's a really, really powerful thing when people, we say live your life like you've got it, or you have an illness, but really what that suggests is that it's okay to say no. When you don't want to go out because you need to stay at home because you're tired, no, I'm not coming out tonight, I'm healing. The other person just accepts it. But normally when you don't want to go out, no, I don't really want to come out, mate. I might come out. In the end, you blooming go out because you're worried about being FOMO or upsetting them, and then you suffer anyway. So that's wasted energy. That's the same thing. It's being okay with it, because people know, because you've got the label, people will be like, okay, cool. But what we can teach is if you just express your feelings, normally that, okay, cool, comes back every time anyway. It's just we don't express our feelings because we worry about what people think.
Which in itself is a very egotistical way of living. If you literally just, and there's a difference between being self-indulgent and being willing to just look at yourself and be aware of yourself, because then you can make a judgment. Often you do things, you're not even aware of what you've done, so you can't even judge because you've not even taken time for the real you to have a look at what you're about to do, or you're not putting enough thought into it. Or in many cases, is that automatic response, like I said, that's built in. So yeah, it's once you start stripping things back, like I said, in the mirror first and foremost, start with the mirror, have a good look there first. And as Harry said, we're not, just to emphasize again, this isn't something that we're trying to preach and teach, and this is something we want to talk to other people and learn from other people as well. I'm learning so much every day from the people that we're working with, and thankfully they clearly are having a good experience working with us. Although the way it works with life coaching is actually it's the coachee that brings all the stuff in the first place. So you just sort of sit there, and it's amazing. We sit there in many cases, listen just to incredible life stories from people that will always say, do you know what, I ain't spoke about that in years. And you just see their face, the energy level pick up when they start talking about themselves. And it's all right to do that, because unfortunately, we don't look inwards enough. So what I've experienced, especially with the people that we've worked with, is when your back's against the wall, you decide to just vocalize a bit of all the stuff that you've pent up all them years. And it's always to say, oh, I spoke about it. I don't know why I didn't do it. I don't know. It always is the same thing. It's a regret of not expressing something. So, yeah, Lads Talk Health is all about expressing emotions.
Telling
your story and us listening intently and learning and making sure we show gratitude when we do learn from people. That's great what you just said there. You know what? I'm going to use these little things. Trust me, these small little things you can change about yourself, where you could just choose to do something nice. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to do that. Well, just do it. Just do it. And 1,000,000% guarantee you'll feel better for doing it, because we all do it randomly, but these little acts of kindness I'm talking about, we've all done nice things at times, and we've all known that, oh yeah, I felt really good when I did that, but then you don't do that again. So it's trying to build, and that's something else, Harry, I've learned this year is, and this has helped with the whole diary thing and writing things down. That's been massive, writing down intentions, but that's helped with keeping up consistencies. I've done a vision board with my wife, first time ever. If you don't know what a vision board is, people look into them. They're amazing. Simple thing to do. We've got the kids involved as well. We've done our vision board to Spain that we're really looking forward to. And it's silly little thing. Again, now I'm doing that with my wife. That's a lovely thing to do with my wife. We've spoke about things, and you talk about things. Oh, we wish we'd do this. But to do it, to cut out pictures, put it up, and where we are now, where we want to be, get the kids, it just opens up conversations with my missus. Mm-hmm. And these, oh, is that really? Do you know what? I didn't know you felt like that about that. Simple little things. And lads, who don't want to have an easy life with a missus? Come on, these are things that are important. So yeah, I don't know how we're doing for time, Hazard.
Yeah, we've got a few minutes left. I just want to kind of set the tone, because it's the first one that we've done on here. We've got the platform, we do coaching, but kind of the bigger picture. Like where can you see Lads Talk Health going with the ideas that we've discussed? Well,
it's going in many directions. I mean, I think like you said, we will. Today's been a bit of a freestyle, bit of an introduction and whatnot. But we are, for what we want to do with Lads Talk Health, we want it to be meaningful. So we're going to make sure we've got themes that we're bringing up each time, which will probably lead to other themes, because this is a funny thing as well. When you start talking about meaningful stuff, it's like you open up and all these different branches go off. But and another thing also, just really important, as I should have said this, one of us should have covered this, the whole thing with cancer for both of us has stemmed from, again, very personal experiences with people that we love dearly as well. So just in case anyone thinks I don't know. Again, it might be me being negative there, but just, you know, people, cancer's so poignant now, and you talk about cancer in any different way from how the mainstream talks about it. You're seeing as something you're trying to take advantage of it. No, not at all. This comes from very personal experiences. With both, for me, someone that I absolutely idolize as a man, as a dad, as a granddad, someone that epitome of a real bloke for me, and how he chose to deal when he got told he had cancer. And that's how my journey started, those years back now. So sorry to cover that, I don't want to digress, but I think that was important so people realize it comes from a place of, you know, a lot of research as well has, as you know now, which you're now have been involved in for the last few years. We really have looked into this stuff for all the right reasons. So when we want to talk to people about this stuff in regards to cancer, it's just sharing information. I want to make that clear. It's information that we've taken a lot of time to get hold of, that it's just not in many cases available to people. And I just, in my opinion, if someone's in a position where they've been told pretty much that there's nothing else left, that this can be done, well, then maybe there's a couple of other pages in that same book that needs to be opened up to people for them to make a decision themselves about what to do next. I think that's fair to say, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, 100%. Always. And the thing is, there's millions of people that have been told exactly the same, and they've gone and survived. What did they do differently? And then we find out, and they all keep coming back to similar things. And a lot of it starts with up here and thinking, I'm not taking this as the final answer. I've got this feeling that there's still more to give here. Yeah. Our job is to not get to these stages where we have to have something happen in our lives for us to react to it. We want to start just living that way. And the thing that I'm going to ask everyone, and we had the question today, how many people do you know in your life that are generally just super happy? Literally every part of their life, they're fucking happy. And it's not a show. I'm like, wow, how many people do you actually know like that? It's difficult to think of people straight away. Which means if there's not many people out there, how do we learn how to be happy? Because we can still do that. That's the thing that I keep saying to people. We have that choice. And my life has literally got happier. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I am in a much better place now than I've ever been because I choose to be. I'm aware of that now, and I wasn't before. And the way I kind of imagine how things could be, like, life doesn't have to have drama in, which people think you need to keep yourself entertained. It's not going to get boring. No, if you're happy, you just have more experiences and make life more exciting, and you just keep being happy on another level. Imagine them doing that with your loved ones, your partner, your kids, and you're getting them all on that, and that's the way they choose to live. Imagine the negative person that comes past your way. Would they even affect you? You'll be like, I feel sorry, they're suffering at the moment. Maybe you offer them your service, or you give them just the time to listen, or you compliment them, and that poof might make their day better. But they're going to come to me for only the good stuff, because they bring me drama, I turn that into a positive. You've been suffering for 10 years, brilliant. You've got a lot of fight in you. Let's make it easy the next year, that fight on healing. Every negative can be a positive if we choose to turn up like that. And that's, again, me and James, we're not the perfect ones, but I'm telling you, if you compare us to who we were, and then you look at the people we are close with, we're very different now. Like the Harry I was now is not the Harry I was then. And that's cool. But the Harry I am now, I'd choose any day. Not even, there'd be moments that I'd love to revisit and be like, yeah, experience, but I wouldn't choose to be that person anymore. And that is like being now. Right now, I choose to be happy. And right now, I want to be even happier. That's it.
There's so much in what he's just said that you need to realise that now thing, because once you get your head around that was Wayne Dyer, as you know, you put me onto him, obviously, but and you are always in control of your now. When that sinks in, because that's been a game changer for me, and I want to touch on about what you just said about not being the same Harry. Regarding myself, I think the biggest compliment, or the biggest self-knowing for me about this whole life coach thing was when we've got 27 seconds remaining, Hazza. I'll be quick. But basically, when my wife, who for the first couple of weeks of me fighting off, of me, qualifying and doing the life coach thing, was trying to prod me to get the old James to react to things, because she just couldn't take the change. And it took a little while for her to eventually say to me, oh my God, I just realised you're life coaching me. So to hear that from my wife, and I just said, look, you've been life coaching me for years.